Welcome to our deep dive into one of the most chilling and mysterious serial killers in history, the Zodiac Killer. A phantom lurking in the shadows of California, leaving a trail of terror and unanswered questions. His hunting ground, the Bay Area. His victims, seemingly random, their lives brutally cut short. The Zodiac Killer wasn't just a murderer, he was a showman, a puppet master pulling the strings of fear. He taunted the police, the press, and the public with cryptic messages, ciphers that promised to reveal his identity. But the puzzle remained unsolved, the mystery deepening with each passing day. This is the story of the Zodiac Killer, a journey into the heart of darkness, where every clue is a whisper, every detail a potential key to unlocking the truth. December 20th, 1968. A seemingly ordinary day, but on a secluded lover's lane near Lake Herman Road, darkness was about to fall. Young love parked beneath the winter sky, unaware of the shadow closing in. High school sweethearts, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were found lifeless in their car. Shot at close range, their innocence shattered by the cold brutality of the act. The first whispers of fear ran through the community. Was this a random act of violence or something more sinister? The police began their investigation, piecing together the fragmented narrative of a night that would forever haunt the region. But the killer had vanished, leaving behind little more than shell casings and a growing sense of dread. The Zodiac had made his first move. News of the murders spread like wildfire, casting a pall over the Bay Area. What had been a safe haven, a place where young love blossomed, was now tainted with fear. Parents held their children closer. Suspicion clouded everyday interactions. The idyllic facade of suburban life had been shattered, replaced by an uneasy tension. The police worked tirelessly, chasing down leads, interviewing witnesses, but the killer seemed to have vanished into thin air. The lack of answers only fueled the growing anxiety. Every parked car, every darkened street corner became a potential crime scene in the minds of a terrified public. The Zodiac had sown the seeds of fear, and they were beginning to take root. Days turned into weeks. The investigation dragged on, but the Lake Herman Road murders remained unsolved. The killer, a phantom, had slipped through the cracks, leaving behind a void of unanswered questions. Who were David and Betty Lou, and what had made them targets? Why this location, this night? Was it a crime of passion, a robbery gone wrong, or something far more calculated? The questions lingered unanswered, adding to the mystery surrounding the case. The lack of a motive, the absence of a suspect. It was as if the killer had evaporated into the night. The Zodiac had played his hand, and in the aftermath, fear and uncertainty reigned. The stage was set for a terrifying game of cat and mouse. Months passed, the memory of Lake Herman Road fading into the background noise of daily life. But the illusion of peace was shattered on July 4th, 1969. Under the cloak of a celebratory night, fireworks illuminating the sky, the Zodiac Killer struck again. This time, his victims were parked at the Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo. Michael Mageau and Darlene Ferrin were sitting in their car when a stranger approached. Shots rang out, piercing the night, echoing through the stillness of the park. Darlene was fatally wounded, her life tragically cut short. Michael, though severely injured, miraculously survived the attack. Michael Mageau's survival was a beacon of hope in the deepening darkness. He became the sole witness to the Zodiac's chilling brutality, his testimony a crucial piece of the puzzle. He described a man methodical and cold, his face obscured by a hood. The details were vivid, etched into his memory by the trauma of that night. His account sent chills down the spines of investigators and the public alike. The Zodiac was real, he was dangerous, and he was still out there. Michael's survival was a double-edged sword. He provided a glimpse into the mind of a monster, but he also became a living reminder of the killer's ruthlessness. One hour after the attack at Blue Rock Springs, a chilling phone call was made to the Vallejo Police Department. The voice on the other end, distorted and chillingly calm, confessed to the murders of both Faraday and Jensen, and the recent attack on Mageau and Ferrin. This wasn't just a killer, this was a showman, reveling in the terror he inflicted. But the call wasn't the end of it. Days later, a letter arrived at the San Francisco Chronicle, signed with a symbol that would become synonymous with fear, a crossed circle. The letter, filled with chilling details of the crimes, taunted the police, challenging them to decipher the message he claimed held his identity. He signed off with a promise: more murders to come. The Zodiac was playing a deadly game, and the stakes had just been raised. It was September 27, 1969. A seemingly ordinary day at Lake Berryessa, a place where the sun-drenched tranquility of Northern California often drew couples seeking solace. Among them were Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, college students enjoying a picnic on the shores of the lake, their laughter echoing across the water, oblivious to the darkness lurking nearby. The sun was beginning to dip towards the horizon, casting long shadows across the beach. It was then that a man approached them. He was dressed in a bizarre, executioner-like hood, a chilling premonition of the horror he was about to unleash. In his hand, he held a gun. His voice was calm, measured, almost polite. He told them he was an escaped convict and he needed their car and money. The man bound Hartnell and Shepard together. He methodically, almost ritualistically, began stabbing them repeatedly. Over and over, the blade plunged into their young bodies, staining the peaceful lakeshore with their blood. The attacker then calmly walked to Hartnell's car, where, in an act of chilling arrogance, he used a felt-tip pen to scrawl a message on the car door. It was a chilling calling card, a signature that would forever link this brutal act to the growing legend of the Zodiac. Miraculously, despite their horrific injuries, Hartnell and Shepard clung to life, a desperate struggle that echoed the terror and pain inflicted upon them. They were found by other visitors who immediately called for help, but for Cecilia Shepard, it was too late. She died from her wounds 2 days later, another victim claimed by the specter of the Zodiac, her potential and future extinguished by an act of senseless violence. The news of the Lake Berryessa attack spread like wildfire, igniting a firestorm of fear throughout the Bay Area. The Zodiac, once a shadowy figure confined to whispered rumors, had crossed a line. The brutality of the attack, the chilling costume, the cryptic message left behind, all pointed to a killer growing bolder, more confident, more dangerous. The authorities were no closer to finding him, and the public's sense of safety continued to erode with each passing day. The Zodiac had become a grim fixture in the public consciousness, his cryptic messages and brazen attacks fueling a climate of paranoia and dread. People were afraid to go out at night, afraid to answer their phones, afraid of becoming the next victim in the Zodiac's twisted game. The hunt for the killer intensified, but the Zodiac remained elusive, his true identity shrouded in a mystery that seemed only to deepen with each passing day. The Bay Area held its breath, waiting for the next move in a deadly game it never wanted to play. San Francisco, October 11, 1969. The city, usually alive with a vibrant pulse, now throbbed with an undercurrent of fear. The Zodiac case, a festering wound on the city's soul, was about to take another dark turn. Paul Stine, a cab driver just trying to make a living, became another name on a growing list of victims. He picked up a fare at Geary and Mason, an ordinary start to a shift that would end in tragedy. The destination, Presidio Heights, an affluent neighborhood, seemingly worlds away from the darkness that was about to unfold, a cruel juxtaposition that mirrored the random nature of the Zodiac's crimes. The killer, blending into the fabric of the city, was about to etch his name once more into the annals of criminal history. The crisp night air was shattered by the sharp crack of gunfire, a single shot. Witnesses reported seeing a man fleeing the scene, his white shirt a stark contrast against the encroaching darkness. The police arrived to find Paul Stine, slumped over the steering wheel of his cab, a bullet wound in his head. Another life extinguished, another family left to grapple with the senselessness of it all. The killer had vanished into the labyrinthine streets of San Francisco, leaving behind a city on edge. The Zodiac had claimed another victim, this time in the heart of San Francisco. The boldness of the act sent shockwaves through the city. No one was safe. The killer seemed to be taunting the police, operating with impunity. The manhunt intensified. Police, working around the clock, chased every lead, every whisper, every fleeting shadow. But the Zodiac, a phantom in the night, always seemed to be one step ahead. Two officers, Don Fook and Eric Zelms, responding to the initial call, drove past a man who matched the description of the suspect. A tragic case of mistaken identity, or so it seemed. The encounter, brief, almost inconsequential, would later take on a chilling significance. The Zodiac, in a move that could only be interpreted as a macabre game, sent a piece of Stein's blood-soaked shirt to the San Francisco Chronicle, a chilling reminder of his power, his control, and the police's inability to stop him. The city held its breath, waiting for the next move in this terrifying game of cat and mouse. Years turned into decades. The Zodiac case, once a burning inferno of leads and theories, slowly cooled to embers. The killer, like a ghost, seemed to vanish into thin air. The lack of closure gnawed at the city, at the families of the victims, at the investigators who dedicated their lives to unmasking him. Theories abounded, each more outlandish than the last. Was it a disgruntled lover? A secret society? A thrill-seeker with a god complex? Every possible avenue explored, yet the answer remained elusive. The Zodiac, a master manipulator, had woven a web of deception that seemed impossible to untangle. The case, officially inactive, remained a haunting presence in the San Francisco Police Department. A constant reminder of their unfinished business. The victims, forever frozen in time, became grim statistics, their stories relegated to dusty files. But for those who lost loved ones, the pain remained as raw as ever. The advent of DNA technology offered a glimmer of hope. A new generation of detectives armed with cutting-edge forensic tools revisited the evidence, hoping to find the missing piece of the puzzle. The faintest trace of DNA, a fingerprint overlooked, a microscopic fiber, anything that could break the case wide open. The Zodiac case, once relegated to the annals of unsolved crimes, was thrust back into the spotlight. The public, captivated by the mystery, pored over old evidence, scrutinized witness accounts, and debated theories on online forums. The killer, though silent for years, still held a strange power over the public imagination. The investigation took on a renewed urgency. The victims, their faces etched in the minds of investigators, deserved justice. But the Zodiac, a master of disguise and deception, had left behind very little to work with. The case, a twisted jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces, seemed destined to remain unsolved. Despite countless hours of investigation, the identity of the Zodiac killer remains a mystery. Over the years, several suspects have emerged, each with their own compelling, albeit circumstantial, links to the crimes. Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted sex offender, became a prime suspect, but DNA evidence proved inconclusive. The lack of a definitive answer left a void, a chilling reminder that some mysteries may never be solved. The Zodiac, forever shrouded in shadow, became a cautionary tale, a symbol of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most ordinary lives. The case, officially cold, continues to fascinate and frustrate in equal measure. The Zodiac, a phantom who terrorized a generation, may never be brought to justice, but the victims and the families they left behind will never be forgotten. Their stories, forever intertwined with the legend of the Zodiac, serve as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of mystery. The Zodiac case, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the shadows, continues to fascinate and haunt us. The killer, a master manipulator who vanished into thin air, left behind a trail of unanswered questions, broken lives, and a city forever scarred. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Let us know in the comments what other cases you'd like us to cover.